afternoon all. We are here today in the south of Italy, Sicily, in the contrada di Passo Pisciaro. The most of you already recognized this man. Is a legend in the world of wine, not only in Sicily. He's Federico Graziani.
Truly pleased with him today.
First and foremost, Federico, please introduce yourself.
It's not easy. I'm ex-sommelier, so as you guys, I was the other side a few years ago, and then I moved to Etna and I discovered a great place where you can have 100 years old vineyard, and I'm lucky to do the best work in the world, managing a small winery in Etna. So we are here in Feudo di Mezzo. It is one of the best contrada in Passo Pisciaro. So thank you for coming here.
Thank you for inviting. Federico, as we were walking through your wonderful vines, I couldn't help but notice the huge size of the permanent wood of these Vache vines. So my question is, how old are these vines approximately?
As you said, in the Etna we have this special system of growing the vine that is called alberello. This is a sort of bush. We tied it on top here when it grows. And this plant is about 120 years old, so it's a Prephyloxera baby. Yes, I call my ladies le ragazze because we have about half an hectare of 100 years old as an average vineyard, and where I do my best wine, Profumo di Vulcano.
So my next question, Hagen, I think that you are curious to know this one as well. 120 years old vines, what is the yield that you can get approximately out of these vines?
You can see the little bunches. I would say the average is about 1 kilogram per plant, but yes, depending on the vintage, we have from 2.5 to 3.5 tons per hectare. Very low, very low.
So very concentrated grapes,
yes,
with I would say high skin to juice ratio.
Yeah.
So which
Exactly.
is a synonym of quality.
And of course,
for
high
the
quality
wine.
wine. and
Nerello
quality
usually
water.
has quite a small belly, so we have a good balance between the quantity of skin and the juice. Yes, the smaller quantity of juice.
And I believe this is one of the secrets of your actually wines.
Yeah, it's not a
expression.
secret. It's just difficult to find very old vineyard.
Moving on into the next question, I believe that both of us, as well as our friends there, they would like to know more about the soil here. In these days, you can already see that there was quite a lot of rain, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you explain us the
Yes.
soil and the characteristic of the soil, please?
As you can see, there are three elements in the soil. There are ashes, like this, very light. There are sand and stones. And this is very important for draining water. So it has been raining a long time, and you have already seen a quite, not dry, but sandy soil. And this is very important for the for the humidity of the vineyard and the system of alberello. You can see the wind going through all the side, and this is a value of the bunch of alberello bunch. And this characteristic of the soil allowed us to have Prephyloxera grape as well, because in sandy soil the larvae of Prephyloxera they don't reach the roots, because the tunnel they produce to reach the tools, they just drop down. Qui siamo nel versante nord e quindi siamo protetti dal vulcano per quanto riguarda i venti di scirocco.
So the next question is, what are the unique environmental factors of the Etna area, Federico?
Etna is of course a volcano, but as a volcano is first of all a big mountain. So it's 3,350 to 57 meters, and so the vineyard are from 600 to 800 meters. This means we have a excursion between day and night that goes in the summer over 20 degrees. So every day the temperature reach 35, 38 Celsius degrees, and every night it goes down to 15. Every morning, even in August, you have 15 degrees in the morning. And this became a sort of huge fridge for the grape, because it's a sort of saving the aroma. They are not burned in the night when you have the excursion.
So I would say altitude as well as diurnal range are two important environmental factors here in the Etna area.
Yes, because the altitude is very important. We are 600 meters here. Now we are moving to the highest vineyard in the DOC, 800 meters, where I produce the other Etna, and this is very the limit of the DOC, and the freshness is still a character of the wine because of the altitude, and it's raining as in the northern Italy. And if you go to the other side of Etna, in the eastern side where the white wine are, it rains more than Burgundy. So it's really a unique place for rainfall and for climate.
So particularly important is this altitude, which provides also some diurnal range, which is pivotal in the wines, the resulting wines, because while the sugar accumulates in the grapes, it retains also the acidity. So flavor, intensity, and aromas develop at the same time. So basically grapes, correct me if I'm wrong, the grapes can reach physiological maturity.
Yes.
So basically without being
Without losing
overbaked,
acidity.
exactly, without losing acidity. And
That's why I fell in love with that.
who does it? Who does it?
Yeah,
Very good.
it's really a different side of Sicily that I didn't know, and when I found it, I found some very elegant wine, and I tried to do even more elegant wine.
And next question, in terms of aspect, yes, what is the aspect for these vines? I can see, I mean, the orientation and everything, but I'm not an expert in that area, so I would like just to ask you.
It's very important, this structure of the vineyard, because as you can see, we work the vineyard in two sides. Actually, we could work in three sides, but we work horizontal and vertical.
Yeah.
Because we have no rows. So we don't have a parade of leaves that stop the wind. We have many characteristics. We have a very good balance between the roots, because the distance between each plant is the same. So it's a sort of round or square neck in which the roots can develop. If you think of a row, we have 2.5 meters of distance, and the roots, they follow the same picture. So we have like a small rectangle, 70 centimeter for 250 centimeter. That's not normal for vines. So even the harmony of the roots, it becomes important in terms of quality.
And do you think this harmony that you mentioned, this synergy between the root and the soil, is even thanks to the fact that actually the vines are very old? Basically, they found their own balance?
Yes, of course. All vines gives you a saltiness, a sweet saltiness that is unique of this kind of grape from this vine. And this is, if you think a plant like this, we have seen the profile in open ground. You can have roots from 10, 12 meters.
My God.
So even in the very dry vintage, they go and they reach the water wherever they want.
That's it. Particularly important.
Yeah,
That's because the soil underneath is always moist, and so it's, I would say, less susceptible to water extremes.
Yeah.
So either it is too much or too little. It is.
They go and find the balance.
Exactly. We're gonna see later on all the grape varieties you cultivate in your parcels, but specifically now I would like to know the grape which you cultivate here.
Yes, I have to say, as you know, Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio are the grape of Etna.
Yes.
But when we go to 100 years old vineyard, we go back to a period in which we didn't have a selection of a single variety. And so we have here Nerello Mascalese, Nerello Cappuccio, but we have also Alicante, that is a Grenache. We have also some Francesi, Uva Francese, French grape. would say the meaning in Sicilian, and it's something similar to Cabernet Franc. We have in here 60, 70 plants of white grapes as well, because in the old vineyard it's a sort of garden, so you have a chaos of biodiversity. So you have more than 10 different varieties, and this gives this unique DNA to the wine, and to the grapes and to the wine, and this is a unique identity. No?
Field blend again, which is are a very important hallmark of Federico Graziani, and they were very important in the past, generally speaking, in the whole Italian peninsula, specifically in Tuscany, where they used also to plant it with some olive trees and everything.
Everywhere
else there,
was like the same in Italy. The fact is, in the other area we have vineyard 30, 40 years old. Here we have vineyard 100 years old. So we go to a different moment in the history of viticulture.
And my question is actually, how do you treat these different varieties in the winery? Do you separate them like micro harvesting or micro?
No, it's not possible to micro harvesting. Just in a few vintage, I move out the white grapes, but 90% of the vintage we harvest all together and we vinify it all together.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Just moved a few minutes away from the other vineyard, and now we are in a totally different area as well. Federico, can you explain us a little bit where we are and what makes this area different from the others?
So we are in Monte La Guardia village, Monte La Guardia Contrada, so it's La Contrada with the name of the village. And this plot is a sort of clos because it's 3 hectares with olive trees all the way around, 2 hectares of vineyard, and the big boy, it's Federico II. It's the real owner of the place because it's an olive tree about 800 years old. It's from the 1200, and is of course the owner.
The owner of the area, the land.
Overlooking the vineyard, as you can see.
And we are at 800 meters above sea level, right? I can feel here it's a little bit colder as well.
Yes. If you see the vines are 10-15 days behind.
Oh, let's go to check it out. It's gonna be interesting.
If you remember in Passo Pisciaro we saw the little bunches.
Yeah.
We are a bit farther.
Yes,
here.
true.
You
can
see very, very small, and yes, you can at least recognize them.
See? Yeah. You can really see the difference in size with the previous. I would say just because the temperature is a little bit colder here, so the vine is not the same point of.
Of course, here the vineyard is younger because I planted in 2017. But yes, this wouldn't change the developing of the grapes. So this couple of 100 meters of difference gives us 10-15 days of differences in the harvest season as well.
Actually, physically, you will always remember it. 200 meters or 150 more can literally change the whole growing cycle. Yeah, early budding. Federico, we spoke a lot about vines, we spoke a lot about differences between them, just with a few meters, with soil type and of course different aspects and altitude as well. But now I would like to focus a little bit on the grape varieties, the flagship varieties that you have. So
It's Nerello Mascalese.
Nerello Mascalese. of
Nerello
course.
Mascalese is 90% of this vineyard, so but usually the DOC it goes from 80 to 100% of Nerello Mascalese. You can have until 20% of Cappuccio. I have 10% of Cappuccio. I like the color of Cappuccio, the nuance of the spice compared to the Nerello Mascalese that is more towards the fruit with the sharper tannins. So it's not easy always to go in good ripening because it needs a long term in terms of
Ripening
physiological period. And yes, it's a great variety.
Elegant.
Yes.
Most of the time it's
Actually,
compared to Pinot
yeah.
Noir, right?
Yeah, actually, many people says Pinot Noir. Somebody says Nebbiolo because of the tannins. Some producer. We like to be compared to Burgundy. I'm a lover of Burgundy. I wouldn't say anything else. But in real, Nerello Mascalese genetically is a son of Sangiovese.
Oh wow.
So we are not the Burgundy or Mediterranean. I would say we are the Chianti of the south. So a bit less scenographic, a little less poetic, but in real we have a fantastic quality with Sangiovese. We know Sangiovese make fantastic Chianti and Brunello di Montalcino and Nobile di Montepulciano. We have fantastic wine. Actually, it's not the same variety, but it's a son of Sangiovese.
Yeah, and also I believe that it's very important to stress out the fact that in the past, most of the time, it was also convenient maybe to compare this area Etna and Mascalese to other grapes such as Burgundy,
And Nebbiolo, yes.
But nowadays, Pinot Noir. But nowadays, I would say, and Nebbiolo. But nowadays, I believe that Etna has got its own identity,
I agree,
stronger than ever at this point, and we should be calling it by its name, which is Nerello Mascalese and Etna Doc for the red, I would say. And also there are also the whites which are quite unique.
Yes, for the white we have the Caricante,
Yeah.
that is like Nerello Mascalese, the big boy of Etna for the white grapes. We have other variety like Grecanico, Catarratto and Minnella that can be used. Actually, for the vineyard of my white wine, as you know, I have a crazy project which allowed 1,200 meters, so 400 meters above this level, in a different climate, North European variety in a volcanic soil, and this is Mareneve.
We are gonna taste it later on,
It's
right?
quite good time to taste. it.
Let's move on. Grazie mille, figa. Qui dai, cominciamo a...
Evviva!
Here we go. I got a little bit thirsty along the way while we were talking about all the challenges and viticulture characteristic of Etna. Time to taste, right?
Yeah.
We need to taste some wines, and we're gonna start from one of the masterpieces of Federico Graziani, which makes his style quite unique, which is the Mareneve.
What a beauty. What a gorgeous.
What are we
flavor
tasting?
this is.
Would you like to introduce it to everyone, our
Yes.
followers and friends?
I have to say Mareneve is a crazy project, as I was saying before. A vineyard 1,200 meters of the sea level, so we're talking about difficulties, and just to give you an idea, in 2019 I had a spring frost. It was like a summer frost because it was the 4th of June,
My God.
and the temperature went 3 below zero at this
Time of the year.
at this time of the year.
My
yes.
God.
So it's not easy, and the Caricante, the grape of Etna, doesn't ripe at this altitude. So a friend planted a few grapes like Riesling, Gewurz, Traminer and Grecanico, and I decided to add the Chenin Blanc and following the Caricante that comes from a 900 meters high vineyard because it's not possible to grow at that altitude. And so it's a blend of 5 different grapes in 3 different harvests. Nose that goes in a open, easy way, but we have a very complex palate, I would say.
Yeah, you can when you as soon as you bring the wine into the nose, you can feel there is a lot going on in the glass. I mean, there is a lot of complex aromas as well as freshness coming through. Yeah, of course, the zesty character of lemon peel and a little bit of orange nuances as well. And beeswax, I can really smell it on the glass. I believe this is the I would say the addition of Chenin, which is bringing this complex and this intense beeswax flavor.
I think is a mountain wine, first of all, with a volcanic nuance, with volcanic characteristic. This was the idea, and the fact to add the Caricante is to link it more to Etna, because I understand we are on Etna and I would like to keep the roots on Etna. But for sure, this is first of all a mountain wine.
And also,
high mountain wine.
I believe that also the Chenin brings this oily texture, which is quite distinctive of the wine, which blended together with the fruit concentration as well, makes this wine quite mouth-watering and fresh.
Yeah.
Very interesting one.
Every vintage shows a little characteristic of a different variety, so it's quite interesting that the 17 was very Chenin orientated, that the 18 it was very Gewürz, the 19 was very Riesling, but the mix is the same, so it's just the balance between the 5 grapes and the maturity of the 5 grapes that gives these different nuances.
In the winery, do you do some oak, old or new? Just
These
stainless
under-
steel?
I'm yes, I'm from the sommelier way of thinking, so the wine must be very drinkable, very thin, as elegant as possible. So the idea is to have something that doesn't do malolactic, so it stays for 1.5 years in still on the lee, but yeah, nothing else.
Very interesting, because I can detect a little bit of nuttiness probably from bottle aging. This wine is exceptional and I believe it has got great aging potential as well. I wouldn't mind drinking it again in 10 years time, to be honest with you, Federico.
I can keep a bottle for you, and we see you in 10 years.
No, there is everything in this wine which allow it to improve with bottle aging. The fruit concentration that you mentioned, the freshness, the acidity, there is everything then. So I think that it will take a little bit more complex honey notes as well as nuttiness, like you said. That yes, you can keep it on the side for us, and we'll come back for sure.
I have to say, my first vintage was 2016, and now it's coming out the Riesling note, the petrol, the oil,
character, yes.
And so I think in time this will be the more influent of the variety during the aging.
Few words regarding the vintage. We are tasting the 2020 here.
Yes. Actually, I was a bit scared that was quite a warm vintage. But in fact, as you can see, there is still a very good acidity. So we have quite a good richness, but at the same time a good acidity. And these probably give more potential than 2019. That was for me one of the best Marinade.
Exceptional wine, Federico.
Grazie.
Again. Cheers.
Cheers.
So we are moving on with the tasting, and we're about to try the Etna Rosso 2020. Wonderful, wonderful label. Of course, the volcano is there, right, Federico?
Yes, it's actually it's the wine I produce here, so it's quite special to taste the wine where it comes from, exactly in the same place. About the label, yes, until 2018 I had a different label.
I know it very well.
I draw it myself with some stylographic pens and a few inks, but I had to give some dignity to the wine. I think I was losing dignity for the wine, so I decided to ask. Yeah, I do wine. That is probably something I do better, and I asked a friend
To design a label.
to design a label for me. Yes, actually he did this dripping. It's a 2.5 meter for 2.5 meters. It's a huge painting, and it's really amazing. Next time you'll see in the winery, we will have it just there. It's just amazing.
So we are tasting Nerello Mascalese, right?
Nerello Mascalese, there is 10% of Nerello Cappuccio, and simple, crisp, with this fruit, still very drinkable. I think this is what I care the most about my wines. They are very good ability to be drunk. easily.
Again, here there is absolutely no oak, or you are using a little bit of old oak
There is
here?
in this and in the next wine, I have one single cask, so 500 liters, small tonneau, that allowed me to give some oxygen to the mass. So in this case, because the mass is bigger, it's about 6-7%. In the Rosso di Mezzo will be 20%, but yes, it's just a small quantity to avoid to go inside.
Overpowering, yes.
No, to go in the reduction side, because Nerello Mascalese tend to go in that direction.
And I believe that some oak, sorry, the cask are really important as well to stabilize the wine against the color, for the color stability, because anyway the color is already a little bit, I would say light, wonderful, by the way, like a Pinot Noir or a Nebbiolo. And some oxygen, at least this is what I read on books, could help to basically stabilize the wine for the color. I can definitely see the old comparison with the Pinot Noir, to be honest with you, even more than with Nebbiolo.
Yeah, it's.
I would call it like.
It's Etna, but I understand it's quite precious for us to be considered as similar to Burgundy or the same kind of elegance as Burgundy. Of course, we are Etna. We have this volcanic nuance that none of the wine of Burgundy can have. So it's different, but yes, it's not bad to be compared to the best wine in the world.
Not bad at all, I would say. Red, crunchy, cherry, a little bit of
it's very floral as well.
Floral, violet, a little
Rose
bit of rose
petal as
petal.
well.
Also this orange zest kind of like coming through in the closure as well.
Yeah, and
Very fine grainy tannins.
And the
I love it.
freshness, yes. I know it's a bone of nerves. I like it. It's something. The way I see the wine is compared to some food.
Yeah.
It's not just by itself. So I like the idea to match. And I think with these tannins, it's better if you have something on the side. When you have a wine that is already completed and you put something on the side, it's like there's something.
I agree.
The thing is a wine of a sommelier. What can you say?
I mean, remember that he started everything with the sommelier side, with the Associazione Italiana Sommelier, right? So he always cares about the sommelier side of things. You need to remember that there are sommeliers all over the world, in London as well, which are trying to sell wines all the time. So it's important also to have some benchmark to compare the wine with. But this one has got an identity on its own, and I believe that more and more guests around the world will
Are
start
asking for Etna.
appreciate it.
They are asking for Etna because they know what to expect and they know what they can get for, you know, an exceptional value.
Time to move on with the next wine, red, which is Rosso di Mezzo.
Esatto.
We move on and we just leave space to Federico to describe the wine and tell everything regarding it. No one better than you can explain.
Can do that.
I'll do my best. Rosso di Mezzo comes from, as reminds the name, from the Contrada Feudo di Mezzo, where we were at the beginning with the very Centurion vineyard. Actually, this is not made by Centurion vineyard, but is the older part, not Centurion, of Passo Pisciaro. And compared to the Etna Rosso, we are moving from 800 meters, where we are now, we are going down to 600.
Okay.
So we have a bit more of power. Feudo di Mezzo is considered for the austerity and the concentration of the fruit. So I think we have more tannins, probably more refined, more balanced in the acidity, and still a great potential, I think. As I would say in palate, probably one of the wine that goes more towards Piedmont.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree on that. I was about to say it before you just said it. I think the year the tan is a little bit more pronounced, more fine grained, and also something. There is still this freshness which is distinctive of all your wines. Is the signature in all
Yep.
your wines because of the, as you said before, the diurnal range and the altitude again, the Etna and the soil, everything combined together, which helps a lot to accumulate the sugar in the grapes while allowing also this freshness to be there with flavor, intensity, and aromas. Yeah, this one I can see more the comparison with the Nebbiolo. Still
Yeah.
very floral on the mouth. What do you think, Ad? Of course, in terms of structural components, it shares exactly the same ones with the Nebbiolo. High acidity, so great freshness, as well as the tannins. Wonderful, super elegant. They are high, of course, but they are super elegant and silky. So, and they are counterbalanced by high acidity as well, which is making this wine so perfectly framed. I would say it's
Yes.
perfectly crafted.
We should start saying that this is Etna,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe some other winery in some other places in Italy. This seems like Etna. Actually, yes, this is the Nerolo Mascalese. We have a little bit more of Cappuccio qui.
Mhm.
It's about 20% of Cappuccio. That gives a little bit more of spice, a bit more of color.
Yeah,
But yes, it's what is changing. The big change between this and the previous wine is just the altitude and the Contrada Feudo di Mezzo that gives all the power.
a technical question. In terms of maceration, do you do some cold soaking before the
No.
fermentation? No, you just go straight
Yeah.
and move on with the fermentation, which is carried around which temperature? Let's say 30 degrees.
Yeah, it starts when it's about 20, 22, and it goes. We try to keep it below 32.
In fact, I can feel the elegance and the extraction of the tannin is just perfect, perfect. So for the grape variety, I would say for the style that you're expecting from a wine from the Vulcano. I think that now we are gonna keep on talking about the wine for a few moments. You can be with us later on with the last wine that we are gonna taste. Last but by no means least, we are gonna try the Profumo di Vulcano 2020, as we said, all the same vintage, which is actually very good to understand the quality and the characteristics of the varieties used in order to make this.
And the
exceptional
differences,
wine.
yes.
Exactly.
I had the idea this 2 years ago to propose, like they do in many parts of the world, all the wines in the same vintage 2 years after the harvest. And I think you still have some great potential, like probably Mareneve and this Profumo di Vulcano. Obviously, they can age more, but at the same time, you can have a perspective of the old vintage in the different vineyard, and this is very important for me to understand what I'm doing.
The nose of this one is something else. I would say very leathery, very spicy, and
Yes, we have
some smoke.
vinification in open cask. We have a fining in tonneau, 500 liters tonneau, first, second, and third passage, about 33% each. So yes, it changed the vinification, but yes, compared to the previous wine, we are in the same area, in the same contrada, 100 meters away. But this is the vineyard made by the vineyard we saw before, and another Centurion parcel, and the big difference is on the palate.
Yeah, no,
Because on the nose you have this Mediterranean taste linked to the oak, but you have this capers, olive
True.
paste,
yeah.
majoran, oregano, all
Oregano,
these characteristics
rosemary.
that goes, and this is caused by the biodiversity of the cows we have in the vineyard, because we have white grapes, red grapes, Francese, Uva Francese, Grenache, Alicante. You have everything. So this gives the imprinting to this wine, and is something more difficult to do during the vinification, because you play with 10 different grapes, not just 2 or 1 like for the Etna Rosso. In this case, the big difference is on the palate.
Yeah.
So you have this richness and roundness, and especially this feeling of sweet salt that is typical of the very old vineyard, and is
like a sour cherry, and this you know, earthy character
The
somehow.
nose is super, I would say, super pronounced, kind of like powerful, and then you as soon as you sip it, then you feel again this freshness, which is just
the
again
elegance,
an
the elegance.
hallmark, and the elegance, which goes along the way until the end of the flavor intensity in the mouth. So it's a real masterpiece. I believe that this one is definitely something that sets you apart from the other producers here in the Etna area, but also which says this wine comes from Federico Graziani. I believe that this one is
Yeah,
quite.
it's definitely, I can feel his signature at least. I mean, we felt it throughout the tasting, and now I'm sure that I will never forget this lingering earthy flavor of, as you said, rosemary, black
Capers
olives,
as
capers,
well, yeah,
which
but
I've never felt before. So thank you very much for actually pointing it out. I will definitely use this descriptor to describe this wine in particular.
Yeah, I have to
Time to say goodbye and to thank Federico for his time.
Unfortunately, we have to leave. He has stuff to do as well.
No, I thank you because it's yeah, when people come from abroad to visit me, I'm very grateful, and thank you for being here and to discover and to talk about Etna, because yeah, we need friends like you talking about Etna wines.
And please, guys, try the wines yourself, and you will realize that there is nothing in the world which is like the wines made by Federico Graziani. Thank you very much for following, and we'll see you soon.
Salute.